I met up with Chef Margarita Fores. She's a restaurant owner and is also Asia's Best Female Chef 2016. Chef Margarita made a classic adobo, a beef short rib adobo, and that inspired my coffee braised beef stew. And I might as well get that beef stew rolling right now. I'll heat a pan over high, and to this, I'll add a little bit of cornstarch to coat it. The cornstarch on the beef will help promote browning, but it'll also work to thicken the sauce too. I'll add some oil to the pan. Just give it a second to make sure it's nice and hot. Then in goes the beef. You want an even layer of the beef so that it browns really nicely. There we go. Once it's nicely browned, I'll remove it back to my bowl, reduce the heat to medium. You can always add a touch more oil if you need it, because the next ingredients to go in are onion and diced sweet potato. The addition of the sweet potato is part of my inspired ingredient. Tasting Chef Margarita's adobo, it had that sweetness to it, and I want to bring out the sweetness in my stew. I've never done that before. Some garlic. I love how the food of the Philippines has lots of garlic. 3 cloves in this recipe. Just give that a quick stir, and now it's time for the liquids. And I give full credit to Chef Margarita for the inspiration here. First, for the sour, apple cider vinegar. For the salt, a bit of soy sauce. For even more sweetness, I have maple syrup. I'll add 500 ml of beef stock, just enough to cover. And lastly, coffee, strong black coffee. The rich color Chef Margarita got on her adobo, I wanted to replicate that. I'll turn up the heat now. And once it starts simmering, then I add back my beef. I'll cover this, reduce the heat to medium-low, a very gentle simmer, and I let it cook for 90 minutes. So while that cooks away, I've got time to prepare my condiment to serve with it. A stew like this is so rich that quite often you want to serve something that adds sparkle. It almost cleanses your palate. Chef Margarita served a chara, pickled vegetables, and that's inspired my pickled squash marmalade. I start with lots of butternut squash. What I like to do is dice it very small. I want to retain this beautiful texture. I'll start the heat, medium-high, and I add a fair bit of granulated sugar. Now, if I were making a traditional jam, I would add my acidity first and actually hold off my sugar until the very end. In this case, it actually helps the squash, the diced squash, hold its shape, and it's balanced by the white vinegar that I add. Whenever I pickle anything, I always like to add some extra flavor. So I'll squeeze in the juice of a whole lemon and a whole orange, but also put in the lemon and orange halves. The zest will also flavor the marmalade. To build on the citrus flavor, lemongrass. And I'll just drop that in. This I simmer uncovered for about half an hour. Then I pull out the lemon and the orange halves and the lemongrass, and it's ready to chill. It's time to take a peek at it. Ooh, would you look at that? Oh, that beef is beautifully tender. You can really tell just by looking at this sauce how rich this stew is, which is exactly why I need the pickled squash marmalade. Just like achara, the pickled vegetables that she served with her dishes, it'll cleanse the palate, lighten everything up. And it'll get me ready for the next bite. So just a spoonful on the side. Oh, that smells so good.